Welcome back to episode 2, your one-stop shop for all your energy drink reviews. I'm Brian.
I'm Christian.
And we are the Bev Boys. Today, we do have a little bit of a controversial one. We have the Alani New, one of their line. It is the Cherry Slush. Looking at the can, we'll be going over the design of the can, the size of the can versus the price, all of the ingredients listed, and of course, the flavor. And everybody loves that time when you pull open that can, you get that little bit of pulling it up. So I guess we'll kind of get right into it today. Kind of going through it, looking at the can. First thing you should know right when you grab that can, it's obviously smaller. You're getting 12 ounces versus 16, which normally now energy drink cans, aside from things like Alani New or even the C-Bum, the Chris Bumstead, Bum Energy, that's a 12 ounce can.
Jocko
is a little 12 ounce. And then a Red Bull, obviously, they're iconic for having the 8 ounce or 12 ounce can. I think it kind of plays off that versus like the standard like 12 kind of shorty, trying to elongate a little bit. Who knows if that's kind of a marketing tactic to make it feel like you're getting more than what you're getting or not. But if we look at like just the design of the can itself,
it's a little girly.
I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan.
I don't love the can a whole lot. I like I don't know. You could say you could hold it better, but I mean, if that's what your thing is. It's also not, I mean, a 16 ounce can everyone can hold too, but just feels a little bit different in your hand.
It's a
little bit glossed. It's like a smooth, almost like I don't want to call it a matte finish, like it's a freaking car, but it's like the matte finish of energy drink cans, if you will. Definitely super colorful again. They're known for their kind of like flashy branding. Obviously, like the text is always that cursive, and then the new kind of like that futuristic text, but then whatever the flavor is, it's kind of themed around that. Cherry Slush, obviously. When you think of cherry slush, you usually think of like an icy from a gas station. That's what I usually think of. Or maybe even like a snow cone versus like, I know some of their other ones, like the Cosmic Stardust is like a galaxy. So it's kind of cool that they theme it that way, but I'm just not a huge fan of it. We were just talking about before this, it's kind of targeted towards maybe more of the female population just because, you know, the owner made this for his wife originally. So kind of a genius marketing move. And then along with some of the ingredients, I think you can kind of see why it's marketed towards that demographic a little bit more.
I will say one thing I do like about this, you've started to see now on some energy drink cans, like this like sleeve. So it's like a silver can and they like heat compress this sleeve onto it.
I'm not a fan of that.
And a lot of the times it frays up in here.
Peel off a little bit, right where you're trying to take a sip.
And then when you take a sip, either it rubs on your lip, it's annoying, you might cut your lip depending on what it is. But yeah, like if I look at the design of the can, I'm not a huge fan of it, me personally. It's number one, I think there's a way you can do busy, and this is too busy. It's got so much going on. Like other than the Alani New itself, nothing really pops out away from itself. So it's almost like it's being busy, but it's not accomplishing being busy. And then the logos, it's kind of clip arty in my opinion. It almost looks like if you were to grab an 8-year-old's kind of Barbie, right? And maybe they had like, you know, in this case, they had like the Barbie smoothie shop. Like that's kind of like the clip art that you would see on there. So obviously it is a little bit more feminine. It's gonna kind of be catered towards like women in that population based off of some of the ingredients and especially like what they're highlighting on the side of the can. It's going to be a 200 milligram caffeine intake. That's one of the big hitters right on the side, along with it being gluten-free. I would hope that there's not many wheat products or wheat byproducts in a lot of energy drinks. So
pretty easy claim to make with an energy drink.
It seems it's almost like a little bit of a cheaper claim. One of those things. It also says it's vegan.
Same thing there usually.
Which there's not usually a lot of
animal products in
energy drinks. Usually it's going to be like a mix of B vitamins, things like that, or even amino acids. But most of the time, a lot of energy drink companies and a lot of supplement companies now have moved towards like a vegan fermented amino. So it is going to be more vegan compliant, so it's accessible to everybody. That's kind of just a given as a standard in the industry now. So, long gone are the days of like using like the fingernails and toenails to get the BCAAs and the amino acids, so you're not like sucking on someone's dirty toes or anything like that.
Want an energy drink?
In an
Suck
energy-
some toes.
Sucking toes and some energy drinks. And then going in, obviously, like we talked about some of the other, like maybe beauty kind of center products. There is going to be like biotin in this. Whether or not it's a legitimate dose, that's one thing. But if you put enough in it to be on the label, you can claim it has it in there, which we've seen in other times too. And other companies such as like Bang have gotten in trouble for having creatine or super creatine when in all reality it's just a leucine derivative. And then they have their social medias on there as well. It's kind of weird to put the social media on your can, in my opinion. I get marketing, but it's also not like, a cool idea for this would be is if it's able to scan the social media and pull it up.
Yeah.
But it's just the logos themselves.
Right.
So,
which it does have the QR code there. Don't know what that takes you to, but
yeah.
maybe only have one if it's the same thing. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one of those things. And again, it kind of covers up some of the other art on there. It just seems redundant. I feel like almost every company is going to have their own social media at some point in time, and you can look that up if you would like it. So yeah, I believe average price, like if you're going to Target, I guess more towards that beauty side, I have yet to meet a girl that doesn't love Target. My wife used to make me sit there for hours. She worked at Target twice just to be around it and get the discounts.
Yep. I don't get it.
So at Target, it's about $2.69 a can,
Nice.
which is pretty nice.
Okay.
But if you go to like a gas station, they can run upwards of like $3.
Yeah, like $2.89, $3. Which, again, it depends on what you're looking for. The 12-ounce can, less fluid, still 200 milligrams of caffeine, which is pretty solid. Obviously, there's a spectrum with energy drinks, anywhere from usually 100 milligrams to 300 milligrams in any one can. So this is kind of in the middle, but more towards the higher side. And especially with the size of can, it does pack a little bit more punch, milligrams per ounce, if you're doing the math there. So if you're just going straight fluid, not quite as big of a bang for your buck, but it is going to give you a good dose of caffeine. Obviously, maybe that is a good dose of caffeine for you, or maybe not. So yeah, diving into the label here, obviously it's one of these very low calorie energy drinks, like a lot of them are. Some companies will have a full sugar version and then almost always have a low, if not no sugar version, just with, it's kind of how things are. 10 calories, pretty standard. 3 grams of carbohydrates, 1 gram of sugar alcohol, which we'll kind of get to when we go into the label. That's going to be a part of what sweetens it a lot, which is what makes it a lot different from a lot of other energy drinks and gives it like a very distinct taste. Classic vitamin profile, vitamin B6, some niacin, almost no, they put 1 milligram of calcium. I don't even know why they bothered to put that on the label. It's 0%. I'm not even sure why they put that on there. And then, obviously 100% of all your B vitamins there. Pretty standard, nothing crazy there. And then biotin, 30 micrograms, which not a whole lot. Again, it says it's 100% of your daily value, but not sure if it's a super great source, especially if you're taking it within an energy drink. Who knows? Some of the other ingredients in this could even cancel that out. And then pantothenic acid, a little bit of that in the end. Standard, proprietary blend with the ingredients. What that basically means is on nutrition labels with like drinks, they're required to put them in the order of, most amount used to least amount used. So the first ingredient, pretty much all of them, is going to be carbonated water. So it's a water base. And then, so you can really tell if an ingredient is towards the beginning, it's going to have more. If an ingredient is dead last, that means they used very little of it. Couple energy drinks do kind of list out what they use for specific ingredients. That's really nice. Usually doesn't happen. So as we get into the list here, obviously carbonated water, citric acid, taurine, those are all super familiar if you're into energy drinks. Erythritol. So this is going to be the main sweetener. That's where that sugar alcohol comes from. So a lot of energy drinks will use sucralose for the most part, maybe even aspartame, maybe not as much anymore, but erythritol, if you drink enough of these, artificial sweeteners, you can definitely tell a distinct difference in the taste between like sucralose based and erythritol based.
Or even a stevia or like a monk fruit.
That's true. Yes, they're definitely a very distinct taste, which some people may like or not like. Some people probably like one more than the other. Sodium nitrate, natural flavors, vegetable juice for color, interesting. A little bit of L-theanine, which is also kind of interesting.
Balance out some of that caffeine intake.
Right, so hopefully be more of like a smooth energy almost.
Not getting that high uptake, coming back down with a big crash. Depending, you usually see that with like a 300 milligram kind of caffeine energy drink. Well, they'll add a little bit of L-theanine in there, which just kind of makes that transition. I believe L-theanine is usually used as a mood supplement to kind of just balance people out. So depending on that would have been an ingredient that would have been great on there to have as one of those kind of like
claims, honestly.
One of those stylized claims on the ingredients. You can really make that as like a cornerstone of, this is one smooth transition of energy. But we also don't even know how much L-theanine is going to be in there since it's not on the, full ingredient label, with the full sizes on that nutrition label, but it's just in the ingredient list. So
yeah, it is interesting. Yep. It is right before caffeine though, so if we're doing the math, 200 milligrams of caffeine, that means
probably at least 200 milligrams of L-theanine.
Honestly, not a terrible dose. I'd say you definitely want at least 100 milligrams of L-theanine to kind of offset that caffeine, if not even like a 1-to-1 ratio or a little bit more in favor of L-theanine. But obviously, you're drinking this to get energy, so you're not trying to have it just put you in a slow, sleepy mood.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything else pretty standard on there. A lot of ingredients that you may or may not be able to pronounce, but that's fine. Don't worry about that. Just drink it.
Should we
pop that top?
Let's pop that top. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
A little bit of splash.
A little bit of splash. I mean, we're in Disney Water Park. We're splash zone right now.
Yep.
I did got a nice snap to it.
Yep.
However, I'm not trying to be super reckless, but there is obviously a splash. One thing I will note, as soon as I opened it, there is a staunch cherry, like artificial cherry, like scent, just right up my nose. Definitely pink coloring in there, for sure.
That vegetable juice.
I mean, just off of smell alone, this is like...
It's that good fake cherry smell.
I mean, it smells like it's gonna upset my stomach after I eat it or drink an entire can. A little bit more pink than I thought it was gonna be. I thought it was gonna be a little more red. I'll top myself off a little bit more so that way I can get in there. But I mean, very, very like. It almost tastes like this, or smells like the concentrated syrup before it gets put onto anything.
Yeah. Before they put it on your snow cone.
I'm trying to think of what candy. There was a cherry candy that smells like this, and it's just gonna bug the shit out of me.
Almost that Pepto-Bismol pink.
Like Pepto-Bismol. You know what it smells like? Like if you just stuck 5 cherry Jolly Ranchers and put them in water and just made it dissolve. All
right. Well, without further ado, we've gone over everything else. Now time for the taste. Here we go.
That tastes like
super sweet
cough syrup. That tastes like shit. That tastes like shit.
This is where we differ a little bit. I'm more of a fan of these than Brian, obviously. That erythritol taste, I haven't had one of these in a while. And I'm not gonna lie, it was not quite as good as I remember it being. That erythritol taste is definitely very distinct and unique. And I think I've been drinking a lot more Ghost lately, had a rain not too long ago. So I think maybe, this is kind of either a love it or you hate it for the most people.
I fucking hate it. It's super, super sweet. For me, it's like a carbonated version of cough syrup that you just threw 9 tablespoons of the erythritol in to sweeten it up. I definitely could not get through an entire can unless I was in a panic mode, I'm just dying on the road. I gotta stay up. And this is the only thing, they don't even have Diet Coke that I could just drink 90 of. I'm definitely not a fan of the flavor.
I definitely am, a little bit more so. Could definitely gas a can of these. Again, it's tough to find an energy drink where you say you could just drink it every day for a month and still like it the same. It is very sweet, so I don't know if I could do a whole lot of these in a row. Definitely couldn't do more than one day. Probably wouldn't want to be honest with you. But
I gotta wash it down. I'd take battery acid over that.
yeah, I don't know. I like the really sweet stuff. Maybe I just have more of a palate for that erythritol as opposed to anything else. But they got some other flavors that I also like. I'm a fan of like the Cosmic Stardust. But again, we were talking about, obviously this is targeted more towards the female population. And you can kind of see that with some of their like celebrity sponsored flavors. Like I think Kim Kardashian has a flavor. And I kind of want to try it, but that I just can't be caught with that can. If you look at that can, it's like all pink. I'm like, yeah, I can't be caught lacking like this. I did have, let's see, I think Addison Rae had her own flavor. Definitely a girly looking can. I did have that one though. It was actually pretty good in my opinion. It was like a strawberry, like something flavored one.
One thing I will say is they actually updated the can in about 2017 to like 2019, even 2020. I worked at GNC and they used to be an all white can.
They were
with a little bit of like a pink and a blue ring. It was very simple. Like if you're walking in and you look at the the shelf, it's hard to differentiate the flavors, but it was a very iconic look. You knew exactly what the drink was. You just didn't know what flavor you were picking until you like kind of read the details. I like that can better. It didn't have so much of like the kind of like graffiti cursive.
Yeah, a little more simple.
A little more simple, which I liked.
Yeah.
And it had like a matte texture to it, which was nice.
Right. I do like the texture to this. It is unfortunate though, because I really like this color of red and green, but just not how they did it here. Like this mint color, I'm a fan of.
Yeah.
Not as much, I don't know. Like if this is like more of like a little kid design, obviously you wouldn't want a little kid drinking this energy drink. And get another sip of that.
I haven't had a ton of the flavors. They used to have, I don't know if they still have it, they had a peach ring flavor.
Yeah, they have a peach one. I don't know if they have a peach ring anymore.
It was a sour peach rings, and that was like I loved it. And it was with the old style can, so maybe they just discontinued it with the old style of can. But it tasted like a legitimate, like you just popped a peach ring in your mouth. It wasn't too sweet like this. Like this is extremely sweet. I feel like you definitely have to like go into that can kind of like looking for that kind of palate.
Definitely.
And it was easy to drink, even if like, working at GNC, you're sitting there forever. You kind of get bored, you get tired. You can drink another and you could have two of them and it wasn't big of a problem. This, I definitely, like if I would have bought it, I wouldn't buy a second. I'm not a fan. So like if I go, off the price, the style of the can, the flavor, the ingredients, the only saving grace for me on this was how well like the can kind of popped, and there was a decent amount of carbonation in there. I don't think it was too carbonated, but definitely with flavor wise and the price, like I'm going 1.8. Like it's not great.
Yeah,
not great at all.
That's very bad. I'm gonna go a little bit, actually a lot higher for this for me personally. Obviously, it's not gonna be my first choice, but I do like these from time to time. It's something that I do enjoy. Again, for me, the price and the size definitely kind of bring it down a little bit, and me looking like not how I want to look when I'm drinking an energy drink. I'm probably gonna go like a 6.8 for me. A lot higher than Brian. Not in my top tier, but I'm definitely having one of these from time to time. So, varying opinions, but if you don't know, you might just have to try for yourself.
And that is the Alani New Cherry Slush.
Peace.
That was so bad. That's disgusting. That tastes
I
like
fucking like
shit. Dude, that's so, you can,